American space exploration started because of a national security threat. During the Cold War, the US and Soviet Union strived to beat one another in various competitions, one of which was a space race. When the Soviet Union took the lead in 1957 with Sputnik, the world's first satellite in orbit, the US created the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, for fear of falling further behind. In the following years, America's goal was to land on the moon. In 1969, with increased funding of up to 4% of the federal budget, NASA's moon landing project Apollo was finally successful when American astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first man to step on the moon. NASA was thus born in such a time of urgency, but today, with the space race in the rear-view mirror and no immediate threats, the role of the National Space Agency in American society is open to debate. NASA's funding still remains a significant portion today. It's about $23 billion, which is 0.5% of the 2020 annual federal budget funded by American taxpayers. Critics question whether the public investment in space exploration is worth it or if it's just a waste of money. Lately, private commercial companies such as SpaceX and Blue Origin have taken the spotlight. They are rapidly building rockets like the Falcon 9 to send people to planets like Mars, as well as other spacecraft like high-speed internet satellites. These efforts are spearheaded by CEOs Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, the two richest and most powerful men of our time. So critics ask, with such promising businesses and ambitious projects on the rise, why do we still require taxpayers' dollars to fund the national agency? Well, there's a key difference between NASA and for-profit companies like SpaceX. They are win-win collaborators that provide each other with technical support, but ultimately have different goals. Private businesses are more focused on profitable projects in commercial space, satellites for broadcasting or launching rockets with cargo and people for commercial purposes. But NASA is focused on civil space, which is about scientific discovery for its own sake. Indeed, the national agency has pursuits that may not be directly profitable, like designing a Mars rover to search for water and signs of pre-existing life, or launching a spacecraft to investigate the distant planet Neptune. Other NASA research projects include utilizing space radar and observational systems to understand Earth's air quality and track climate change, as well as using space shuttles to study alternative sources of energy. This spirit of exploration and discovery is hugely valuable for America as a whole. It fills people with wonder about the ever-expanding cosmos, where there's glimmering stars, exotic planets, enormous black holes, and possibly extraterrestrial beings. Some may even say we have a moral responsibility to explore the galaxies, as the universe gives humanity a humbling perspective on how our lives, our world, and our problems are just a speck in the grand scheme of things. NASA thus inspires a widespread culture of discovery and innovative thinking. Studies have furthermore shown that the agency's programs spark children's interest in STEM. In other words, investing in the agency is equivalent to investing in the future scientists and engineers of America. Critics claim that there are more immediate issues on Earth, food insecurities, human rights, and disease research that should be addressed before venturing out to space. The $23 billion that NASA receives could be a significant boost to initiatives for cancer research, relief in poverty-stricken areas, and other causes. Couldn't scientists also just study the vast underwater world, as 95% of the Earth's ocean floor is still unexplored? After all, scoping out the galaxies appears to be a luxury that seems to be irrelevant to our daily lives. However, these skeptical questions are valid, but often misinformed. The benefits of space technology actually apply directly to issues on Earth, maintaining and improving people's daily health, safety, and security. GPS satellites, for instance, have revolutionized our lives, making navigation more reliable and efficient. Another example are weather satellites that detect and alert inhabitants of impending natural disasters, allowing them to evacuate ahead of time. Other important technologies have been byproducts of NASA: water filters, LASIK eye surgery, scratch-resistant lens, cochlear implants. The list goes on. Additionally, the NASA Jet Propulsion Lab had translated their technical space expertise into effectively designing in just over a month a ventilator for COVID patients. Such technologies alone have provided countless benefits. In the long term, Earth is just a small speck in the infinite universe, which contains an infinite amount of resources. Humanity could look down and frown at all the ongoing problems on Earth, or instead it could look upwards towards outer space and see all the solutions awaiting. Going back to NASA's origins, critics contend that NASA's purpose was already fulfilled during the space race. Because no present-day national security threat exists, they reason that we don't need the agency. However, even today, there still lies the danger of missile attacks, cyber attacks on satellites, asteroids going off course towards Earth. In these international emergencies, the US would need to be able to respond with the expertise of NASA. Moreover, a competition is still at stake with other world powers during this time of peace. If the US does not invest in NASA and stay a leader in space, then countries like China and Russia would get ahead. Therefore, from a nationalist standpoint, publicly funded space exploration is crucial for America to maintain its role as a global leader. Even if one does not agree with the ideals of space exploration, the economic value that NASA generates can speak for itself. NASA's 2019 fiscal year produced an output of almost $65 billion in the US economy, which is a whopping 3 times its budget. Ultimately, NASA is much more than just an expenditure. In contrast, it creates a direct, far-reaching impact on national and state economies, creating jobs in manufacturing industries, providing invaluable technical services, making profitable international and private relationships, and advancing science and technology through R&D. Famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson even advocates doubling the agency's portion of the federal budget from 0.5% to 1%. Putting in $1 in NASA, in essence, gets much more than $1 back. It is evident that the benefits outweigh the drawbacks for publicly funded space exploration. Considering perspectives from scientific and technological standpoints, America's role on the global platform, and the economy, we come to the conclusion that NASA's portion of the federal budget is without doubt a worthy investment. In closing, today's society should keep its enthusiastic support for NASA and perhaps consider pushing for the agency's increased funding. After all, space exploration goes hand in hand with the future of America.